Hi folks, this is Sario for CVNR. Uh, Today we are going to look into two videos. One is the first part, another one is the second part. And the first part will be about how to classify neuro-rehabilitation techniques. And in the second part, I'm going to give you some examples of how I use that classification. Right? Famously, Bill Clinton said it's the economy so stupid when he was running against Senior Bush, right? Likewise, when you are thinking of classifying anything in physiotherapy, anything, I mean anything, not just in neuro, anything, I think it is the exercise stupid. You have to classify your treatment in accordance with the type of exercise. Where does this technique fit in terms of the exercise, right? Now, as you all know that the exercise broadly you can classify into passive and active exercise. Passive exercise basically means that the patient is a passive receiver. Everything is done by an operator or a therapist or a machine or something like that. Say for example, a continuous passive mobilizer. And in an active exercise, the patient is actively participating and he has to do things like that. Now, remember, unlike in other treatment like surgery and things like that, in case of physiotherapy, we are trying to change the patient's brain, right? You are making him learn, you are making him understand the disease, accept the disease, all sorts of things, right? So the brain is a vital part of neuro-rehabilitation, not just in neuro, but also in orthopedics, I suppose. So you can imagine that when it comes to rehabilitation, we know that the brain is the most important function structure we are trying to change, and for that we know that active exercise is the best thing to do, not just a passive thing, because then your brain does not change with passive modes. We know that very well, right? And you can also imagine that you cannot just classify it as active and passive. I have further classified into impairment level exercise and activity level exercise. What I mean by impairment level exercise is just your flexion extension like this, moving this. So these kind of simple movements which we do, I'm considering it as impairment level exercise. And activity level exercise can be two parts. One is activity and participation. That is walking, running, jumping, sit to stand, going to the shop, going to the temple, all sorts of things we will consider it as activity level. And remember, both of these exercises, whether it is impairment level or activity level, can be given with assistance. None of the time, most of the time, you may need some amount of assistance. Sometimes you may have complete hands-off also, right? So this is basically what I'm thinking is how you classify your any treatment technique in neurology. And in the activity level also, even though a lot of people consider it as only one, I think we have two parts to an activity level exercise. One is meaningful to my patient, right? So what are the things which are the patient thinks are vital? Say for example, going to if it is a child going to the school, going to the play, going to participating in other activities what the children do, like a movie or a play date, or going to your cousin's house or a wedding or things like that. So these are all meaningful. Taking the phone and doing this, taking my glasses and wearing them. So these kind of things are, I consider it as meaningful. There are also other group of exercise. I call it as we do it because it is wonderful. The common example I can give is making them sit on a ball, which is not meaningful for the patient, but we are all smitten by it, making them stand on a wobble board. I don't know why we are doing that. So these kind of things, or taking a pegboard and keeping it like that. So these are not meaningful for your patient, but we think it is wonderful, so we do that. So these are the ways of classifying your uh, classifying all your neurological techniques. In the next video, I am going to give you some examples of how I have used these things and how it can be done properly. Thank you so much. Continue watching our video, the next video, to have a complete understanding. Bye.